Hello. This is a timeless channeled message meant to find you whenever this finds you. So the tarot cards we have for this reading are the Fool, Wheel of Fortune, and Ace of Wands. I will say, this seems to be quite a good omen. With the Fool and Wheel of Fortune, it looks like there's some type of... The first words I wanted to say were business venture. Just something that you're doing in the physical, material world that seems to be bearing fruit. And it comes from something that you're good at or something that you have a really good feeling about. So, with the Fool here, there's something about being optimistic about how things could go. I've said this before in other readings, but if you have anxiety, I want you to see this as excitement. And whatever your mind says, however your mind is trying to play tricks on you, saying like, what if things could go wrong? Think about the other half of what if. What if all these things could actually turn out right and turn out positively for you? With the Wheel of Fortune, there's two aspects of this. The first one is like the obvious. Wheel of Fortune talks about good luck, talks about like good things occurring, but it also talks about cycles. Because it's next to the Fool, I'm getting the sense that you're transcending a cycle by starting something new or starting something that's fresh. It may not be like a completely new thing, as in it's completely out of the blue, but it's something that you know you're good at, something that you've cultivated. I also heard new step, so this could be expanding on something that you already know quite a bit about, or building up on something that you have already, but it's like you're incorporating a new idea. The image that I'm getting inside my head is like a bee colony or an ant colony. The idea is that when a nest, say a bee's hive, it becomes so big, it produces so much honey and so much of a surplus that it can expand and build up a new hive, a new colony. So the way that I would relate to this is if you are a business owner, then maybe this is opening up a new branch of your business, opening up a second location. If this is you being independent, this could also be you offering a new service that you feel really good about internally. But again, there's this newness here, so it may not be fully tested yet. I do see that you're being encouraged to take that leap of faith first, to try it out and see how you feel, because it may turn out better than you're expecting. So we'll get some clarifications on these cards. Spirit, can you tell me why the Fool is here? Why did the Fool show up for us? I heard internally the song We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister, specifically those words. I think that this is telling me that you're not settling for less and that you're actually taking a chance on yourself. Perhaps someone gave you an offer to be like partners with you, but then you realize that it benefits them more than it benefits you, so you said no. Either way, this is talking about you not settling for less than what you thought was possible or what you think is possible. There's something greater out there that you're asked to be optimistic about, which I know is a challenge for some people, including myself. I sometimes have difficulty dealing with this, but even for myself internally, I do feel like Spirit is asking me to be optimistic about the future as well. So I'd like to share that with you. All right. So to clarify the Fool, we have Page of Pentacles, Four of Swords, and the Hierophant. So with Page of Pentacles next to the Four of Swords, this is telling me that this is a new idea regarding your business, regarding something you're going to do in the physical world. And it's an idea that you've been resting on. I feel you've been thinking about it for quite some time. Again, it's not spontaneous. Even though externally it might look out of the blue or spontaneous for other people, I feel like to you, this is something that you've dreamed of. This is something that you've considered for quite a while, but you're trying to figure out it's like trying to figure out if people are receptive or interested in this. I actually do see that with the Hierophant here. The Hierophant to me is a wise and righteous leader. What's interesting here is that I feel like this is you with some type of test audience. If this is truly like a business, then this is asking you to seek counsel with people that you trust really deeply. Friends who are also honest critics, people who are going to tell you what's right and what needs to be worked on. Because I feel like whoever you're thinking of that's in your corner, that sounds like this, they are genuinely people that you can trust. It's interesting because you come across to me as both the Hierophant and then also the two people. I feel like with these peers around you, you play that sort of role with each other, and that you can ask for honest feedback with this community. Maybe you are friends with them, or maybe it's more professional. Either way, it looks like they have your best interest in heart, and that it's okay to discuss the planning phase with people that you trust that are credible. Again, I feel like this has been a long time coming, or this is something that you've been slowly working on in your internal world. And I feel like now is the right time to be able to express that, or at the very least, get the conversation going. To start talking about it, not just to dissipate that energy, but more to let it flourish, or to keep you inspired to make an action. Because again, like, it can exist in your mind, you can talk about it, but eventually if you want it to exist, you got to do something. It has to come out in some kind of way that's practical, or that makes it real. The first couple of steps, if you will. So we'll ask about the next card. Spirit, can you tell me why Wheel of Fortune is here? Okay, two things stand out for me when I'm looking at this. Specifically Taurus here, the bull, and the fact that all of the four quarters, the four fixed signs are reading a book. So Hierophant is also Taurus's card, by the way. There is something here about just taking things slow and steady, especially in the material world, that's setting you up for success. But then there's also something here about learned, applied knowledge. There's something that's like, it's not that you're taking a blind leap of faith, it's that you have had enough wisdom and knowledge, book smarts, but also street smarts, the ability of doing something enough times to understand how it should work, and you have your own internal plan, internal formula to follow. Even if it doesn't look like what exists out there, or it doesn't, if there's no like formal blueprint written online, I feel like you have your own idea, your own way of doing things. All right, to clarify the Wheel of Fortune, we have the Sun, the Eight of Cups, and then the Ten of Swords. Ooh. Very contrasting energy between the Sun and Ten of Swords. I heard internally cutting out the opposite. And what's funny is that when I saw the sun earlier and then the second card, Eight of Cups, my first instinct was to say the moon. Specifically, I was looking at the moon card here, or the moon symbol in the background of this Eight of Cups. Usually the Eight of Cups talks about moving on or walking away from a difficult situation. I feel like there's something that you overcame in the recent past that you are very happy about or that you're celebrating for. But because things were so dark in that relative past, like with the Ten of Swords, it often talks about a betrayal, some type of like heartache or mind ache. I feel like there was some type of relationship here that was weighing heavily on you that you've moved on from, and it seems like the right decision because it makes you feel lighter. The term I'm getting now is a limiting belief. I feel like there was somebody that you were close to. This could be a friend, a family member, someone that you care for, someone whose opinion that you regard highly. It feels like you're letting go of an attachment to them or letting go of thinking so highly of them, because I think that there was something that they said or that they did. Pardon me. There was something that they said or that they did that feels kind of hard. Like they didn't think something that you could do was possible, but it's because they didn't believe in themselves or they didn't believe in you. I think that there's something about you moving on from them in this instance. Maybe you keep them as a friend still. Maybe you keep, like, you're still in touch with them, but you're not letting their thoughts or their limiting beliefs affect you anymore. It's weird because there's something about the red cloth that this person in those images are wearing. I feel like this was something that was shrouding you, but because in the sun here, that cloth is now a flag, I feel like you're not bound by it anymore. You're not bound by it anymore. The word I want to say is like naked and free. You're not restricted by that clothing anymore or that costume. I feel like whoever this other person was, even if they approached it from a place of care or trying to look out for you from their point of view, there's something about you putting that to the side, saying, thank you for your opinion, but I have to do my own thing. And you're able to shine very brightly. I think before I talked about transcending some type of cycle, and I feel like, yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune, the first aspect is like actual riches. I'm not sure if I even talked about the second aspect. The second aspect of the Wheel of Fortune is supposed to represent cycles, usually within the wheel of the year, but it could also be like the lunar cycle or personal cycles. I think that there's something here about you stepping up from a personal cycle. I think it affects you in some way, but you're not letting it control you anymore. You're giving it like, you're allowing it to be, but on like a mental level, you're like, okay, this thought process, you stay over here while I'm over here doing my own thing and thriving and finding my own success. Again, just something that you're moving on from, something that once heavily affected you, that you know doesn't have to affect you so deeply anymore, and it feels like a relief to let it go. So we'll get some clarifications on that last card. Spirit, can you tell me more about the Ace of Wands? Why is the Ace of Wands here? All right, to clarify the Ace of Wands, we have the Lovers, Five of Pentacles, and then Three of Pentacles, Okay, so internally I heard intentionally choosing the more difficult path. I think that reflects something that you've done in the past. Um, I remember earlier I talked about how somebody may have offered you like a business partnership or collaboration that you felt wasn't worth it. And I feel like you're in the middle of choosing yourself. The Lovers often talks about like a crossroads, making a choice. And with the Five of Pentacles that comes afterward, I feel like you did the thing that was more difficult in the meantime, that it actually has more potential, more of like a payoff for you later on. It's just about now working on the thing, and specifically working on it with like a community, people that you trust, even if it's just for feedback. It looks like you have people in your corner that are willing to give you, again, helpful advice so that your plan, your idea can actually come to fruition. There's something here about, even though this is an individual journey, like you're the one initiating it, you're the one who's driving the car, so to speak, it looks like you have a community of people around you that are like-minded, that are willing to give you honest, constructive advice, and that are credible in the thing that you're seeking. I think that, okay, there is something here about being incredibly optimistic about your outcome, because if you can imagine it, then it's theoretically possible somewhere. Regarding this other limiting belief that I said earlier, if it's brought on by someone, ask yourself, what is their position on this? Even if they say that they're doing it to protect you, even if they're trying to even if they're mucking up your energy, ask yourself if this other person is actually credible in giving you advice, and ask yourself if they genuinely have your best interest at heart. I feel like right now, you deserve to be supported during this time. And there's something about needing this new thing, this new seed, this new idea to germinate first before it blossoms and comes out properly. So that's everything that I'm seeing here for this reading. I'm going to leave it at that. If this reading has helped you in any way, I would like it if you left me a like or a comment. I would appreciate that a lot. And if you would like, and if you'd like to support me, I have a Ko-fi link in the description box down below. There you can give me a one-time donation or hire me for a personal reading. So, until next time, take care. Bye-bye.